On Fridays, we gather as a bunch of guys and speak about football, issues in football, challenges in football, things that we've noticed over the week in football, things that were spoken about in and around football. And to do so, I always implore and ask a couple of guys to come through. Dr. Mnandi is coming live from Port Elizabeth at the moment. Dr. Mnandi, not to have you in studio is a little unusual. Welcome to the show.
Andile I've been camping, but I said in your camp. My wife always says, "Hey, you take the show so seriously." So, and I'm just saying, I'm just calling Nandis Buzwala.
Former Bafana defender and captain, former Kaizer Chiefs defender and captain, part of the super team in 2005 that set the record for 31 games unbeaten. That was now beaten by Sundowns. So I can't wait to hear his views on it. And that's the caliber of people we bring here. This is a man that was part of that team that Rulan is talking about. That was a super team. Ungambheki manje umkhonzo sombona ku TV ucanga ukuthi hayi no nomkhabalo wakhe lo angekahle libhola. No, fanele ngibatshele boy, fanele ngibathwasele ukuthi lo mkhaba bangoboni bawunyathe. And of course, he made his debut last week. He was absolutely phenomenal. We're hoping that he brings the same fire. He's a social media curator and manager of social media accounts. We know because he manages our account here at Sports Amplified with Andile. Biso Snaps.
Thank you so much, Ma'a, for the opportunity once again. Good evening to the listeners. Good evening to the rest of the panel. And welcome to the number one sports show in the land. 2005, when Mkonza and them were setting that record, you don't even you can't have been old enough to be even watching. Yeah, I was way too young, Ma'a. I was way too young at the time.
Well, let's represent all sorts. I mean, there are people who were speaking about 1998 and Sundowns losing Rothmans. Abayaz ne Rothmans. Rothmans abaz. All they know Guti Rothmans. And of course, he's been here before. He makes his return. Pule, Jagalas, Jackals.
Jackals is my surname.
Seguro Majita ubisa Jagalas vele.
Hayi banipitsa Pule or Iniesta.
Oh,
yeah, it's my nickname.
Pule ungayilahli.
Kawutshayela.
Buza kahle Pule. Pule Jackals is here. He's a researcher and staunch football fanatic. Follow him on social media to hear his views. Guys, let's get straight into it. I mean, that's why we're here. Konza, Rulani Mukwena. Sundowns coach says that they don't get enough respect as a team, especially when you look at the records that they've set. And I'm pretty sure that every single week when we follow it, Opta Jabu, he tweets the records they break with every single win. They've set the record now for the 8 straight wins. They've set the record now for the 32 wins in a row. He's set the record for being unbeaten in the PSL since he's taken over. But let's have a listen to him first.
The record you're talking about has been standing for almost 20 years. If we went for another 2 more years, it would be 20 years that record has not been broken. And it was a super team that had that record. A very, very good side. And so, unbelievable. I speak about this group not getting enough plaudits and not getting enough praise.
So it's a record that's been standing for 18 years. 2005 when Kaizer Chiefs set that record. Konza was part of that team. Konza, firstly, before we even go to Oguti Recorded Pule, just remind us about that team. Remind us about Kaizer Chiefs in 2005.
So in 2005, especially national team players, mostly the Patrick Mayos, the John Shoes Mshweus, Rowan Fernandez, Fabian Makati, Cyril Zama, Chabumoki, Lakim Zizi, Junior Kanye, list endless, and if we list and school quality, national team players. I mean, we had under 20 international about Junior Kanye, Lakim Zizi, most of the guys are buying the national team. I have said this squad is strong. Napa Spare Pension is 21. We have Roberto Toki, Kumalo.
Highway.
But again, just to go back to what Rulani said, I think for me, Sundowns have surpassed most of the records. They've done so well, and we can't take that for granted. They've demonstrated a high level of consistency and perseverance in the quality of their side. I want to say, the return of investment, for investing on how they've invested, they've done so well over the years. But you must understand, immediately we push it because our football people, they'll never give credit to sometimes. But I still believe Sundowns have done so well, and I mean I'm one of the people that are applauding Sundowns for the consistency they've shown over the years. I mean they last lost a match September 2022, and I mean we side that's the strongest side ever. And
they last lost a match in September of 2022. That's over a year now.
I'm telling you, and I can tell you right now, that level of consistency and perseverance is not as easy, especially when you are playing against 50 hours. I don't know, 50 not different. Those are different challenges and different battles out here.
Bizo, I think, and I said this, I mean, when this came out, I spoke about it on Twitter, and I said, from where I sit, I feel like even oppositions, because everybody we interview here, from coaches to players, even people that call in, yes, they don't like Sundowns, most of them, but they give credit to Sundowns. Definitely. But I think clearly Rulani is looking for something more. And he said it. Every newspaper should have had the headline to say record-breaking Mamelodi Sundowns. Every news outlet perhaps in their sporting bulletins should have had gone with record-breaking Sundowns.
I mean, what he's saying is 100% true. You know, they're not getting the credit they deserve.
Really?
But just to play devil's advocate a bit, I think consistency is a double-edged sword. You know, you on one side, you are winning games, you are winning the trophies, you are winning titles, and you're getting all these accolades and records that you're breaking. But also, consistency also makes it look like it's easy. It's gotten to a point now where people expect Sundowns to win games. People expect Sundowns to go and winning runs. People expect Sundowns to have these runs. I mean, Sundowns in the last 3 years, the number of goals they score alone in every season, I mean, it's close to 100 every season. They score 2 goals a game every season. It's such a consistent team. They're playing at such a high level that because we've seen it for so many years, people have gotten to a point where they just expect it. So they're breaking these records, and everybody's saying,
you know why I don't buy that? Real Madrid, they've been winning for years. Manchester City now, Man United before that, Liverpool before that, Barcelona before that, Atletico Madrid, and you can go to the historical teams as well, Juventus, and we can go on. These Bayern Munich, these teams have been winning for years, for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, but every time a record is broken, every time Rulan is correct.
Yes,
those teams, people
definitely.
go. I mean, when the treble was won by Man City last season, when the Champions League was won for them, was a new thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at everything they do now, it is amplified like you can't believe, Pule.
Exactly, no. And also, I think much credit has to go to the Sundowns technical team for the work that they've put through over the years. I mean, for any team to have this consistency over the years, it's not an easy thing to do. And then much credit also go to the technical team of Sundowns led by Rulani currently, because what they have done, they kind of like done their work in a way that they are not so predictable to their opponents and anyone. So that's why they've remained above everyone in the league in terms of consistency, performances, and all that, and winning all the titles. So much credit has to go to them. But then saying that as well, that much hasn't been said about their record and stuff, I think, for me, no, it's incorrect.
Go Katile, man. No saring, Pule. As far as Urlan is concerned, you're saying you don't feel like he's right when he says they're not getting, because the question many are asking is, who do you want this from? You should be getting it from your supporters. But I'm different, guys. I'm different. We all love that Kaizer Chiefs team, whether you supported them or not. John Shizmutu, even before that, if you go to the Orlando Pirates team that had Basil Steenkamp in the middle with Bashin Machangu up front, Tebogo Moloi on the side, you love that team because you love football and they were doing well at the time. I can go to a Free State Stars team that had David Murise. You know, we can go to Mtata Bushbacks that had the Twins and admire. We can go on.
The Sundowns team that had Abu Jezi Hodi.
Thank you very much. So then why are we not giving the same respect to this team?
I don't know. That's why you have supporters. So I think the supporters, they are supporters that have to come in and make sure that they speak much about their team's achievements. And like I was saying that I don't think it's correct by saying that much has not been said about their achievements. I've seen a lot of football journals and other media platforms talking about this Sundowns team, their performance, and how Coach Rulani has kind of like revolutionized how the team is playing, approaching in terms of the games and all that. So I don't think he's right by saying much hasn't been said about their achievements and their current performance and stuff.
So he's greedy. He wants more.
He wants more.
My coach wants more. He wants more. He wants more.
He wants more.
All right, it's 26 after the hour 6. How do you feel about it? Listen, I think as neutrals especially, you need to be able to say, you know what, it's an era of great football from this team and give them their credit. Whether you support them or not. That's my last one on this. Let's move on now. Kaizer Chiefs, a huge surprise when they came out this week. because number one, Msimango was dropped. This is a person who's played more games and started more games and played more 90 minutes at Kaizer Chiefs than any other. He's dropped to the bench. And Gonzalez, a player we've all been asking ourselves questions about. How do we feel about him? What do we think about him? Can we give him a grade? Can we start judging him on the games that he's played? Didn't make the 18.
Yes.
Pule?
Yes. Starting with Msimango, even myself, I was surprised by his exclusion from the starting 11. But then I think on the day, the coach had an equally capable player in terms of doing the job at centre back. And then maybe it was coach his plan of saying, last week we were talking about technical rotation. Maybe it's part of his technical rotation. That is why maybe he left Msimango on the bench and then put in Ncube, which Ncube played very well at Moses Mabhida, playing alongside Udi Tlokwe. And then coming to the issue of Gonzalez, my personal view of Gonzalez, I don't see him as a bad player, as many are now starting to think. I just think that as a foreign player coming from South America, being in a totally new environment, he was quickly rushed into playing by the Chiefs coaching team.
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
How long did it take for what's the guy? No, the guy at Sundowns.
Oh.
How long did it take for Mendieta to hit the ground running? How long did it take for Ribeiro to hit the ground running? How long did it take for Allende to hit the ground running?
Those guys, they had preseason of Sundowns, and then of which Gonzalez is something that didn't have the team. Of which preseason is something that most people know.
Good point.
They tend not to take serious. Preseason is very much
he wasn't part of
important
the
component of playing in your team. So he was not part of the preseason. So he's still trying to adjust and get used to his teammates in terms of the type of runs they do. They also need to know in terms of what kind of passes he expects from them as his teammates. So I think maybe that understanding will come as time goes. So I think coach can.
But surely the only way you get that is by playing.
By playing, yes, by playing. I saw him in the last 4 games that he played. You could see some flashes of a player that is no good in him, but then just that somehow luck wasn't in his side, whereby he missed a couple of chances that came his way.
Those crosses that he's not
connecting with. Yeah. So maybe he just need to acclimatize himself with the pace of the game, because our game in Mzansi is we are playing very much pacey game, so he needs to up his pace a bit so that if a cross is hit into the box and then he's able to be there on time to meet it and then get into the back of the net. Yeah.
Yeah, with Msimango first, I was also surprised to see him dropped from the team. But in a way also, I understand it because he's played so many games on the trot. I mean, we were only speaking about the games he's played at Kaizer Chiefs. Even at his previous team, he was on a run of something like 61 games leading up to this game that he had played 90 minutes in, So he had played, he's been consistent. But the problem is, when you've got a defense and you're conceding goals, sometimes the coach has to find where the issue is. I mean, a lot of the blame has been put on Peterson. A lot of people also have highlighted the fact that it's a new partnership with Udi Tlokwe, so they're still acclimatizing. I personally don't agree with taking out a centre back. I feel like goalkeeper and centre backs is a position where rotation is a bit of an issue because you need a solid base. But on the other hand, also Ncube, when he came in on that day, I feel played really well. I mean, I remember an opportunity in the 32nd minute where Ohizu got through and Ncube came through from behind him, got the tackle in to stop the play, and that was good defensively, even though the goal that they ended up scoring was in the exact same scenario. But I feel like Ncube performed well enough on the day. But of course, as time goes by, you'd expect Msimango to come back. As far as Gonzalez goes, I feel like he hasn't really fit into the way that they play yet. I mean, if you look at the other attackers that are there at Kaizer Chiefs, you're looking at a Dupree, you're looking at a Saile, you're looking at a Modi. They've hit the ground running as far as the season goes. They've played well so far. So, if it's a case of trying to find the best attack, right now he is not at the same level as the other guys. But as time goes by, I'm sure that we'll probably see a little more of him getting on the field and trying to get some game time, But for now, he still hasn't hit the ground running yet in terms of linking up with the rest of
the
attackers.
What's hit the ground running, guys? What is hit the ground? What does that mean?
I mean, if you look at, let's take, for example, the Sundowns game that he came into the other day, right, on Saturday, right? He came into the game with 30 minutes left in the game. Mm-hmm. He got 0 shots on goal. He didn't assist anything. He didn't really impact the game as much as the other players were doing. I mean, we saw Saile with that bicycle-like kick that almost went in.
And the run that when he took on
Exactly. You see, you saw him dancing even though he came on late.
So what did Gonzalez do?
He's not doing anything. That's the issue right now.
So then tell me what you're telling me. Don't tell me about hit the ground running.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That he has not performed yet for the team. So the issue is he hasn't blended in with the rest. But
so he deserves to be taken out of the 18.
I don't think he deserves to be taken out of the 18. Maybe put him on the bench. But to take him out of the 18 altogether, I'm not sure if I'm too okay with that.
Mkonza, you have not been convinced about this man.
Number one, we spoke about this me and you on Monday. Chiefs need to improve their recruitment policy and the criteria of signing players that comes to Kaizer Chiefs. Here I'm putting my head on the line. I don't think Gonzalez will score goals for Chiefs. And if you go back to the stats, Zaki, they give you a story. A quality player doesn't move every season. He moves to another team. That's
especially a 9.
Yeah. Especially an important spine position. Chiefs are looking for a goal poucher, not a system striker that will just fit into their tactical plan. So, do you think Gonzalez is a goal poucher? Definitely no. I think for me, the management needs to improve on the recruitment policy and then look at the criteria of bringing players, because this has been the dreadful errors they've made over the years of bringing players that don't fit into how Chiefs play. But to Gonzalez out here, Mamela, I can put my head on the block. There is no
Does he have 10 goals in him? Not a lot. 10 goals in a season. Does he have in the PSL? Does he have 10 goals?
No.
Does he have 10 goals?
Looking at his stats, he's got 8 goals out of 18. So maybe he can get 10. If not 10, then around 7 there.
I can't defend of it.
Nah, I don't think he has 10 goals in him. The problem is he doesn't fit the style of play at Chiefs. So I don't see him getting 10 goals in that team. They struggle also to score goals as it is. So for him to get to 10, I don't see it happening.
Let's put it like this. Who scored the 2 goals this past, Wednesday?
For Kaizer Chiefs?
Yeah.
It was Castillo and the first one was Dove. Dove, yeah.
So it's 2 players that play in defensive positions, or supposed to be playing in defensive positions.
Yes.
So then up front, where are the goals going to come from at Chiefs?
The way I'm seeing, it looks like Castillo is going to be Chiefs' top goal scorer this season. The way things are, I think the problem of Kaizer Chiefs, they lack a creative midfield that will be able to give a pass at the right time, at the right pace for the attackers. And also this thing of playing Dupree's, at times wide, at times central as a 9. I think it needs to stop. Find a permanent position for Dupree. Which for me now, I think the right position for Dupree is playing at number 9. He's able to play.
You think his rightful position is a 9?
I think he can do it. He's able to play at the shoulder of the last defender and move his pace.
Yes.
Chiefs can eat nicely of Dupree.
I think the Chiefs needs to find a way of how to use it to play with that speed, because I spoke about Dupree needs space to play, but if there's no space, then you won't see him being effective and functional. I was about to answer Andile. I think for me, coach had to be brave and make that change, because the Troko and Msimango are identical in terms of centre backs. Modern football requires for you, but in science, but the positive and positive repel each other. You need to bring someone who's different, which is a good suitable candidate to in that centre back. That combination just needs a bit of time. I think Msimango are more authentic, defenders that just they are not technically gifted in terms of passing from the back, build up from the back. That is why Intokango will work out. But also coming in Dove on the left hand side where Ushanti was. Because he was a top wing back, but I think Dove has done so well. But their partnership it's gonna work out. So it changes over between between Uditokwe and Msimang, because Ungobo brings in what Chiefs wants to do, play from the back. That is okay. Coach had to make that sub.
Mtetra coming on. Getting his debut for Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
Pule, your thoughts?
I was impressed by what he did in the few minutes that he played coming in terms of he gives the midfield a shape. He's able to screen in front of the defense very well, and I can see that he was making good passes. Very much comfortable on the ball. He can hit a long pass and he's good in short passes. So I think
he
do well for Chiefs.
Because you were of the opinion that he's not needed at Kaizer Chiefs. Pule just said the same thing, in that Kaizer Chiefs instead needed a creative player in that position.
Yeah. And I've been saying Chiefs without number 10. I mean, for me, I'm not undermining Mteto, but I still believe that yes, Chiefs have brought in Mteto, but still, you need a creative player that will link up the play. Chiefs, they don't dominate matches because there's no midfield influence. All the midfielders, the Chiefs, Castillo, Marti, Mteto, they are grafters, are not influential midfielders in terms of on the ball. They are grafters. So you need a 10 that will connect defense to attack. And I can tell you right now, Coach Ayaz that is away, but now need to foundation to have a solid defense so that he can attack freely without worrying about.
You think Zwane can carry Kaizer Chiefs as a 10?
You play him closer to a security. Mbonuzwane is still young. You play with another holding midfielder that is experienced, that is quality, that will guide him. Not the school Andile.
Can Zwane carry Sundowns, Pule? I mean, sorry, can they carry Kaizer Chiefs Zwane as a 10?
For now, I don't think so. Yeah, like Dr. Mkoda says that if you play with a security, if you play with Mtete, because Mtete is very solid in tackles, he can screen for him, make him to roam around up and down a bit, yeah. But if you give him the responsibility to be a grafter, I mean,
he's not a grafter. You've got the grafters. You've got a Mart. You've got a Castillo. You've got a Mtete. Yeah. To free him as a 10, can Zwane hold Kaizer Chiefs in that position?
He's got a pass in him.
Not as a 10, Andile. Not as a 10. He plays closer to another holding mid. They play double pivot. We play him closer to 10. But scout a low play. There's no 10 yet because I don't think Tanzania is form. I don't think Tutuzi Shabalala is in that position. Because I need a 10 that is very brave, that will link up the Chiefs. The Chiefs is a Muntu Kutuzayo, Emily Nandi. Nchambi Chiefs and Yaz. Every time I got Beto Kutuza, La Pabo shoes, Beba Kutuza, Jabupule, Beba Kutuza, but a role, a free role, but he's linking up everything as he win a move.
But I mean, he's got that mold. He's creative enough to do it. He's got that pass, So I don't know. But if you're saying no, then I'll take your word for it. Let's move on. Last story before we go into the players that perform best and ones that we need to shame this week. We had George Maluleka. Come on,
George Maluleka. Yeah.
And we're speaking to him about the previous coach, in which, surprising to me, he says that Romain Folz was a good coach. He feels he's a very good coach. I still dispute that. I still highly dispute that. And I'd love for him to come back on the show. He's been here before, and we have this conversation with Romain Folz. He hasn't played much. He's been injured this season. Twice he got small little niggles and injuries. Mm-hmm. And then they went and got a player that plays Ben Motswari in a similar position. Have a listen to what he had to say.
Not at all. I think everything is out there for the taking. I trust myself. I know my capabilities. As much as we are colleagues, at the end of the day, it is competition. But at the same time, that just betters the team. So when everyone competes and tries their level best.
So when you hear Ben Motswari is joining, you don't say, hey, what does that mean for me?
I'm saying it's a good thing for the team, But for me, obviously, it is my position is under threat. But for me, I'm just actually very happy because there's just an added number that will add value.
Mkonza?
And the new player comes into the team, for me, especially playing my position, I don't see it as a threat. I see it as a good competition that will improve me. That's one thing I want to correct you, George. But wait. No, seriously. You bringing a player El position.
Metro ilete utabiso msiya la.
Yeah.
Hayi chief,
manje kusho mna awuthathi wena ability yakho if we are saying ukuthi lo muntu uzongiphazamisa ungidlalisa half ground, but Andile amaZulu have been replaced uMakaula Makahleni in that role ye-6. They've tried to extend, they've tried uMalepe, they've tried Ungema, the new Ngema. It hasn't worked. Makesheni, you remember, was the first receiver of the build-up, was a link-up from that sixth position. That's why they brought in Mutuari, who's going to be immediate replacer Kama Kesheni Makaula. But I think for me, a new player when it comes to the team, that's how I look at it. I see and not.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to hear what the two guys here are saying, because maybe I'm not convinced. You're a science teacher. High school. They bring another science teacher. Hey, your job is going. Be so very quickly. George Malulega at Amazon.
I totally understand the point that you're making, that you're supposed to feel a little threatened. But if you look at George Malulega and his history, George Malulega has always played for quality sides. He played for the golden generation of Ajax that had, Clifford Ngobeni, Tulani Serrero, Lance Davids. They had the cream of the crop. He's played for a SuperSport United. He's played for a SuperSport United. He's played for a Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns. If you think of the Kaizer Chiefs side that he played for, that 14-15, Lutsulunyane was in them. There was so much quality in that team. Katsande was in that team. So he's always been surrounded by good players. So I'm sure he would relish the chance to play with quality players around him.
Good point.
Yeah, George is a player of good work ethic from his previous clubs until where he's now at Amazulu. So I think the arrival of Muswari, it will only help Amazulu to have much competition in that midfield that coach Martin will want to have. And then I think George, he can even be played together with Ben and George. Maybe playing Mutwari as a 6, then George as an 8, or interchangeably George as a 6 and then Mutwari as an 8. They can do well both together, yes.
Taking your calls in 5 minutes. 086-000-2160. Your voice notes on 060-552-7303. It's all Vilagazi sent us a voice note. He's heated. He wants to say something about one of the topics we spoke about, so we're going to play that in just a bit. But firstly, let me start with a newbie to the crew. Pule, who's impressed you the most this week? Which player gets your Sports Not Amplified Player of the Week?
For me, what that up is the Sundowns frontman, Shalulile. He scored 2 goals over the weekend during the semi-final. Obviously, one is controversial, but you got to give it to him. You can't take it away from him. He scored 2 goals. And then in their game against the Steelers, he did very well. I was impressed by his selflessness, whereby he was onside in terms of scoring. And then he laid off the ball to the young man, Omar Bena, to score, of which for me that deserves,
Shasha.
Yeah, Shasha. So for me, without the dub, Shasha is the player of the week for me.
And who hasn't impressed you? Who has not been make sure?
Who hasn't been make sure? It's a player from Orlando Pirates that hasn't played much. I don't know if I'll be wrong to say this. The guy decided from
feeling.
Maro.
Okay, yeah.
Maro, yeah. When he was quoted by Pirates and then the ultimately signed, much was said about him because he had also been part of the Cameroon squad at the World Cup. So we haven't seen much of him because I think he's by far played only 46 minutes in the 4 games that he has featured for the team. Only 46 minutes. For a player of his caliber,
not make sure.
Yeah, it's not make sure. And what I've seen of him, I wasn't impressed.
Piso?
Player of the week, my eye has to be Shalulile. I mean, the 2 goals that he scored that day technically were both very good. I mean, the first one, the angle that he was shooting.
You can say from, whatever you say about whether he was, wrong or right.
Yeah.
And I mean, pictures show that he was wrong.
Yeah.
That's what pictures show, the footage. But the way he scored that goal and the angle that he was at, you can't take that away.
Exactly. And even the second goal, the way that it was played in, if you look at Peterson, he ran halfway through the goal, then stopped because he expected him to head it back into the area for someone to finish. But he had the presence of mind to see the space between the defender and the pole, and he put it in. And even in the second game, like Pule just alluded to, the pass that he gave Mabena, for me, was the moment of the week. To see an unselfish player in that position who's chasing records, but still has the presence of mind to say, you know what, here's a youngster, let me give him this opportunity.
What you want to see.
Who's not make sure?
Not make sure, it's a bit of a tough one this week, but I'll have to go with Steelers. Yes, they won against Pirates. They still went out of the cup.
They were playing like a team that didn't need another goal.
Exactly. That second half, they were very flat. They lost Umtetwa. Reyners was injured in that game. They went on to the Sundowns game. They lost that, which is now 5 games winless in the league. So I'm really not impressed with what they're doing. I'm just hoping that they can get it back.
Mkonza, player of the week.
Player of the week for me, Ushalulile. I hear Upisto what he said, Nopule, but what is key, given the armband, I like him. Magabizo Mope no Mngane, I'm advising, and then I was excited with the fact that it's not just about Ushalulile who scores goals for Sundowns, but it's also a team player. social media is very versatile for me. I was excited to see him fucking armband, and then the player that didn't do well for me, Ali Sangare, Sikukune goalkeeper, he made a big error that allowed Chiefs to equalize, and then the team that didn't do well for me is Stellenbosch. 5 matches, winless streak. For a team that plays speed, they struggle against Sundowns because they look lethargic. They gave their all Machine Pirates on Sunday, Cup. So you could see the electric element in their game. That's why Sundowns.
I feel like you guys only watch Chiefs, Sundowns, and Pirates. Because how come Elmo Kambidu of Chipa United is not coming up in your conversation, especially when you think the fact that he scored 3 goals in 2 matches now?
If you look at last week, I did raise someone from Richards Bay. I was demolished by the panel.
Is it
here.
because Kim Morgan?
Yeah,
here's the player, Elmo, who scored in 2 games. That's how many goals he scored. He's been, I mean, when you look at the run that the cheaper team is having, I'm not hearing his name.
Yeah.
And they are playing
Okay, for you, who's not so make sure?
Yeah.
For when nobody ongekho mnandi.
Oh, ngishilo kodwa wali Sangare.
Oh, Sangare. All right, guys, very quickly, we've got 30 seconds each to do this. What match are you looking forward to this weekend? What are you building up to?
Polokwane City and Royal AM. Polokwane City is, there was a lot of controversy at the beginning of the season with the Mpomakola situation, and they've come on to win 2 games. The last 3 games haven't been so good for them, but they're playing at home this time against a Royal AM team that has Utsele and the young guy who plays left back, who's Tole. Very impressive 2 young players. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do in that game.
Orlando Pirates and Jordan Galaxy. Pirates, they need to win this game to qualify for the Champions League group stages, and they are playing against a very good team coached by Morena Ramorobudi, we know that he wants beat Orlando Pirates coaching a 3rd-tier team, and this team has very good players in it, especially I'm looking at the guy Daniel Msendami, and then Pirates, they will be making sure that they win this game, otherwise they will be out. But then their coach have to plan carefully, because now if they go into this game being desperate, going to attack all out, I'm afraid Johnny might use that, capitalize on that, spaces open left behind, and then score maybe 1 or 2 goals, and then take Pirates out. Yeah.
Mkonza?
Cape Town Spurs, Derby, Cape Town Derby, Andile, emotional dynamics, breaking rights. But Roshon Patet, I just spoke to him right now, Andile. The guys are ready to fight tomorrow against the Cape Town City that is winless in the last 6. They only scored 3. Umayo is still on only 1 goal. But again, if you pay Cape Town Spurs, born about bottom, no 0 number of points. They've conceded 12 in the last 6 matches and 3 goals scored. So, Gunzimanyana Patushon says the guys are confident, and this is a game that will change a lot of emotional dynamics after tomorrow's match.
Right, appreciate it. Timuli, it's Opta Job. Oh, Tabisa, give Pule, you've got new people here, you forget about Opta Job. Yeah. One of the voice notes that we've gotten comes from an avid listener of the show, Tsofi Lagazi. He's sent us a voice note, and I'll read you some stats from Opta. It's at Opta Jabu on social media. Do follow him. He tells us that Pirates might be desperate for a win, but no team from Botswana has ever won a CAF game away to an PSL opposition. They played 6, drawn 1, lost 5. Pirates have hosted most of these games, winning twice and drawing only 1, including a 1-0 over Jwaneng Galaxy. So we've seen that before. Pirates have also lost. They lost 3 games in all competitions in a row. So it's tough times. But here's an important one. You can follow at Opta Jabu for more of these. Timomu Levitz, he's excited. The youngest player to score in the PSL game. Do you know? Mabena became the youngest one at 16 years, 7 months, and 9 days.
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Impressive.
Drop us a voice note on 060-552-7303 now.
Yeah, Andile, it's Mandela here in Deep Sleuth. Andile have watched dominant teams like Real Madrid buying expensive players. I've watched Barcelona dominance. I've watched Manchester United dominance. I've watched dominant teams. Kaizer Chiefs 2002, 2001. Jabu Pulis, Moshine Trukal. I've watched 2006 in Besuma, Ted Dumintro. I've watched Benny McCarthy, Lakili Khwati, double triple. Opamanyisa, Andile Jali, but there's something wrong with this Mamelodi Sundowns team. It seems like competition have been stripped off. It's just not sport friendly. We spoke about it in this show and it was dismissed that we can't even have FIFA what because we're not honest about everything, and some teams won't have sponsors, but there's something just doesn't allow me to clap for this team and say, yo, sportish.
My brother, please.
This is Tovila, guys, by the way.
Saying my name. Yeah, I'm one of the ex-players, but what I'm saying is that I fully support Rulani because he also deserves all the acknowledgement, all the support, all the platforms to showcase in terms of his talent and his team what they did. Because remember, they've been doing this for the past 6 years. They've won. Sundowns have been winning the league for the past 6 years. They're going for the 7th time now. So please, let's support him. Yeah.
No, so you actually need to come back. You need to come here and be one of the guys one of these days. We know your voice, and you're allowed your opinion, and your opinion is valid here. So it's okay. So, but it's okay. Kolisa.
Andivumelani no Mr. Mnandi xa esithi uMsimango uyafana noDitloko in terms of playing. Their style of play is totally different from each other. UMsimango is a very smart athlete, but the only thing I picked up from him, he always wants to pass the ball, even if he's got a space in front of him to utilize. So that's the only thing he needs to improve. And I'm happy that the coach had given Ncube a chance to play, because we all love Ncube and we want to see Ncube playing the way we used to love him. Coming to Rulani Mokoena, I disagree when he says Sundowns doesn't get the recognition they get. Last season in the PSL Players Awards, every category
no, not an awards category, but in terms of people out there, the media out there, you're not seeing enough hail for Sundowns.
The fact that we respect Sundowns, if you can talk to anyone and ask him how is Sundowns doing, they will tell you that Sundowns is currently the best team in the PSL.
Listen, and even enough said. Okay. Enough said. Problem. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's go to Bonkosi. Bonkosi is in Soweto. Bonkosi. Hey, no, I'm good. Go straight into it.
Asisenabo Daniel Bennett, asisenabo Gomes. If you look again the game between Sundowns and Pirates, I
did.
Because what I believe, Andile, there is PSL, there is SAFA to deal with the ref if the ref is making a mistake.
Okay, Bonkosi. No, I hear you, Bonkosi, there. And we'll take it on Monday with the ref when he's here. Let's go to Matota. Matota is in Krugerstop. Matota.
Hey, and
hey, go for it, boy.
Good evening. Good evening to you and the guys there on the studio. And one thing for sure that I wanted to mention is about Rulani Mokoena and his achievements. I think he's clouded by a lot of things. Remember, Chiefs is the most supported team in the country. You understand? So the supporters overhype anything. You understand? And if it was them, it was going to be another issue altogether. And the media always goes with that overhype of the supporters. That's the reason why. Second point, we as blacks, we don't recognize one another. We become, if you check 2005, and I'm taking out of correction, you'll check with your guys there, because they're the one who knows the stuff more than me. In 2005, the coach was telling me who happened to be someone else from Romania and stuff, and he's not in the color of Rulani Mokoena, you understand? We're more appreciative to people of color than one of our own. That is why we cannot get
Matota, enough said. Out in Krugerstop. Thank you very much. Last one, Tebogo, out in Teflok. Tebogo. Yes, sir. You've got 30 seconds.
Not what
Oh, Tebogo, your line is terrible, my brother. Your line is so bad. I'm so sorry. Kulisho, you then get the last say.
Andile, how are you?
I'm good, man. Go for it.
Listen, two things, right? Gonzalez can score 20 goals while playing for Sundowns. He's not a well-coached team. He's not coached. You don't even know the system. With Disokwe and Msimango. Msimango and Novo, I've been crying for them. They can play well better because they can play from the back. Disokwe cannot play. cannot play at all from the back. He feeds on SuperSport and all this team, but not at Chiefs. At Chiefs, we want players that can play from the back.
You know what, Kudi, so you had me going there. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I reckon scores, guys. Guys, it's 7 o'clock, somebody. I've got to get out of here. Thank you so much for coming through. It's always great to have a conversation. Trust me, these conversations carry on Twitter, so let's jump on there. You know Pule Jagas is going to be there. You got Biso Snaps. We'll do it again on Monday. Mazola Mulefe at Super Jerry joins me as well as Victor, the principal. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. From us here, Pela Pela. And so me.